The moment I stepped on stage, the lights blinded me. My heart was thundering so loud, I thought everyone could hear it. The entire crowd stared back, expectant and ready to judge. My hand tightened on the microphone, and I took a deep breath, willing myself to calm down. As the opening notes of the song began to play, I felt the world fall away. This was my moment to become the person I'd always dreamed of being. The dream I'd held onto since I was a kid, maybe even a little longer than I'd ever dared admit. My name's Evan, or it was at least when all of this began. Back then, I was an 18-year-old guy, trying to break into the music scene in a small town. Most people around here had a very fixed image of me, scrawny, introverted, and, to put it kindly, a bit alternative. I'd always had a knack for singing, though, and I'd spent hours practicing in my room, recording demos, posting covers online, hoping that maybe, someday, someone would notice. The funny part was that when people heard my voice, they'd always think I was a girl. At first, I hated it. "Nice voice, girl," strangers would write in the comments. "Such a beautiful tone. Who's the singer?" they'd ask when I'd upload something anonymously. I'd correct them, feeling an odd sense of betrayal every time. "It's Evan," I'd say. I'm a guy." But the comments kept coming, and I couldn't change how I sounded, no matter how hard I tried. Over time, though, I started to feel less irritated by the comments and more curious. What if I was a girl? I mean, not permanently, of course. Just, what if I could become someone else when I sang? People always said there was a sort of magic in my voice, a softness, a gentleness that captivated them. My singing voice wasn't loud or brash. It was smooth, soothing. Feminine, I guess. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I actually liked that. The idea began to grow on me. If everyone thought I sounded like a girl, maybe I could use that to my advantage. One night, in a fit of frustration and excitement, I made a decision. I was going to perform as someone new, someone different, a girl. But where would I start? I didn't have anyone to talk to about this. My friends were cool, but the idea of confessing this secret felt overwhelming. So I turned to the internet naturally. I joined a few online forums, read stories, looked up makeup tutorials. I discovered terms like MTF and Crossdressing and started learning about a whole community of people exploring the same ideas. The stories I read were eye-opening and strangely comforting. Here were all these people who had taken control of how they wanted the world to see them. It was like finding a hidden key, a whole world waiting for me. With some savings I'd scraped together from my part-time job, I went to a thrift store downtown. I combed through the racks until I found a few pieces that felt right. A simple, flowing blouse in lavender, a dark skirt that reached my knees, and a lightweight jacket to pull the outfit together. Then I headed to a drugstore and bought some makeup, foundation, eyeliner, a little lip gloss. The woman at the register smiled knowingly, and for a second, I panicked, thinking she'd somehow guessed my plan. But she just said, "Trying something new," and I nodded, muttering something about a friend and practicing. Once home, I locked my bedroom door and got to work. It was clumsy at first, so clumsy that I almost gave up. Foundation smeared unevenly across my face, and my eyeliner looked like it had been drawn by a nervous toddler. But I kept at it, carefully following tutorials and adjusting bit by bit. And then there I was. My reflection stared back at me, and for the first time, I didn't see Evan. I saw someone softer, someone a bit mysterious and kind-eyed. It was like looking at a dream version of myself, and I couldn't stop staring. I decided she needed a name, and the name Eva slipped into my mind like it had always been waiting there. Eva. The next step was to record my first song as her. My setup wasn't anything fancy, just a small microphone I'd attached to my desk, my laptop, and a lot of nerve. I closed my eyes and let the music flow through me. There was something magical about it, like I'd unlocked a new part of myself. My voice slipped effortlessly into that higher, softer tone, and the melody wrapped around me like a second skin. For the first time in my life, I felt complete, like Eva was who I was meant to be all along. When I uploaded the song, I couldn't believe the response. People loved it. Comments poured in, and every single one was directed at her. "She sounds amazing," they'd say. "What a beautiful voice Eva has." It was surreal, exhilarating, terrifying. I felt like I was living a double life. But I was addicted to the thrill of it. Performing live, though, that was a different beast altogether. Online, I had control, anonymity. But on a stage, under bright lights, there'd be nowhere to hide. But as luck would have it, I soon got the chance to test myself. A local club was hosting an open mic night, and I couldn't resist signing up. The day of the performance was a blur of nerves. I spent hours perfecting my look, going over my song, trying to calm my jittering hands. I told my family I'd be out with friends and slipped out the door. My heart raced as I stepped into the club, but I pushed down my nerves, channeling every bit of courage I had. When they called my name, Eva's name, I felt the world shift around me. I walked onto the stage, took hold of the mic, and let myself go. My voice floated through the room, reaching every corner, filling every ear. I poured myself into the performance, singing not just for them, but for me. For Eva. For the part of me that had been silent for so long. The applause that followed was electric. People were cheering, some even shouting for more. I stumbled off stage in a daze, overwhelmed by the energy, the acceptance, the joy. A few people approached me afterward, complimenting my performance. I nodded, thanked them, trying to stay composed, but inside, I was screaming with happiness. I'd done it. I'd been seen. And they'd loved me. As I walked home that night, the stars seemed brighter, the air sweeter. I didn't know where this path would lead or how long I'd walk it, but I knew one thing for sure. I was Eva now. And for the first time in my life, that felt right. In the weeks that followed, Eva became more than a character I slipped into for a few hours. She became a lifeline, a version of myself I was increasingly drawn to, a piece of me I didn't even know I was missing. After the open mic, I found myself walking through life with a strange sense of duality. There was Evan, the quiet guy with a small but dedicated online following. Then there was Eva, a mystery singer with a voice that seemed to touch people deeply. Every time I performed as her, every comment from listeners who said they felt seen through the music, I felt more alive, more like myself. My nights were spent perfecting Eva's look, refining my makeup skills, experimenting with new clothing, and filming videos to post online. By day, I'd go to school, play my role as the normal guy everyone thought they knew. It was exhausting, yet thrilling. I couldn't risk anyone at school finding out. The world wasn't as kind as my small online fanbase, and I knew that. But in private, I was free. Eventually, I started receiving messages from local fans who wanted to see me perform live again. "Eva, when's your next gig? We loved you at the open mic. Do you have any more shows lined up?" I couldn't ignore them forever. My heart yearned to be back on that stage, but I needed a safe space to perform. And that's when fate handed me another unexpected opportunity. One afternoon, I received an invitation from a friend of a friend to perform at a small, LGBTQ-friendly club in a neighboring city. Apparently, one of the audience members at the open mic had shared my performance with the club's manager. They were looking for fresh talent, and my voice had struck a chord. They didn't know much about me, only that Eva was a new, up-and-coming singer. For them, that was enough. The decision to accept was nerve-wracking. It was one thing to perform as Eva once, on impulse. It was another thing entirely to commit to doing it again in a new setting with a crowd of strangers. But I couldn't resist. This was my dream, finally within reach, if only I had the courage to keep moving forward. I replied to the invitation with a shaky yes, wondering if I was in over my head. The night of the gig arrived, and as I got dressed, a swirl of emotions took over me. I slipped into a dark dress that hugged my frame just right, adding a choker and a set of silver rings that gave the look an edge. My makeup had improved significantly since that first attempt, and as I applied the finishing touches, Eva stared back at me, her eyes filled with both confidence and fear. I felt more like her than I ever had. But beneath it all, a nagging fear crept in. What if someone recognized me? What if my secret was exposed? I pushed the thoughts away as I stepped into the club, the atmosphere buzzing with excitement and anticipation. The club was dimly lit, the walls covered in neon art, and the crowd was a diverse blend of people, each more colorful than the last. I took a deep breath, reminding myself that I wasn't alone here. This was a safe place, a world where Eva could be herself. The manager, a friendly man named Javier, greeted me with a warm smile. "You must be Eva. I've heard so much about you." His words made me blush, and for a second, I forgot my fear. I thanked him, and he led me to the small stage, a gleaming microphone waiting for me under the spotlight. As I sang, I felt a connection with the audience that I'd never felt before. These people weren't just listening, they were seeing me, hearing the soul of my music, feeling the raw emotion I poured into every note. It was intoxicating, and for a moment, the lines between Eva and Evan blurred completely. I was simply me. After the performance, the applause was thunderous. Strangers came up to me with words of praise, gratitude, and even admiration. "Your voice has such a unique, beautiful quality," one person said. "You made me feel things I haven't felt in years." I was overwhelmed, but in the best way possible. These people weren't seeing Evan dressed up as a girl, they were seeing Eva. And in that moment, Eva felt as real as the stage beneath my feet. Over the next few months, I performed at the club regularly, gaining a small but dedicated following. With each performance, Eva became less of a disguise and more of a second self, a part of me that I cherished. My online presence grew, too. Fans from all over reached out, some sharing their own journeys with gender identity and self-expression. I realized that Eva was more than just a stage name. She was a voice for others who, like me, didn't always feel seen. One night, after a particularly intense performance, I met someone who would change my life in ways I couldn't have predicted. Her name was Lila, a singer-songwriter with an ethereal voice and a knack for lyrics that cut straight to the heart. We hit it off instantly, bonding over our shared love of music and the struggles we'd faced in being true to ourselves. Lila was the first person I felt safe enough to confide in, and one night, after a long conversation about identity and dreams, I told her the truth. I'm not exactly who you think I am," I said, my heart racing. "Eva is, well, she's part of me, but there's more to it." Lila looked at me, her expression thoughtful. "I think I already knew," she said softly, taking my hand. "Eva or Evan, you're still the person I've come to know. I don't care what name you go by." Her words filled me with a warmth I'd never known, a sense of belonging that made everything feel right. She didn't just accept Eva. She accepted all of me. Our friendship deepened, and we even started writing songs together, blending our voices and our stories in a way that felt almost like magic. But even with Lila's support, I knew I couldn't live in both worlds forever. Eva was too much a part of me now to be hidden away, yet I didn't know if I was ready to reveal her to the people in my everyday life. The choice was made for me one evening when someone from my high school happened to come to one of my shows. His name was Mark, a popular kid who I'd always avoided in school. I saw him watching me from the crowd, his eyes narrowing as he seemed to recognize me. Panic shot through me, but I pushed through the performance, hoping he'd brush it off as a weird coincidence. But I wasn't that lucky. The next day, rumors started circulating at school. Whispers followed me down the hall, and people gave me strange looks. My heart pounded as I realized that the truth was out there, hanging like a question mark in everyone's mind. When Mark finally cornered me after class, he smirked. "So, you're a girl now," he sneered. "Didn't take you for the type, Evan. Or should I say, Eva?" I wanted to disappear. I felt exposed, vulnerable. But then I remembered Lila's words and the feeling I had on stage, the warmth and acceptance from the crowd. I stood up straight, meeting his gaze. "Yeah," I said, my voice steady. "Eva is part of me. If you can't understand that, it's your problem, not mine." To my surprise, his smirk faltered, and he shrugged before walking away. The rumors didn't stop, but my fear did. I realized that hiding Eva wasn't worth losing myself. And the people who truly mattered would understand, like Lila, like the fans who had connected with my music, like everyone who had felt something from my songs. From that point on, I started to merge both parts of myself, slowly letting people into my world. My family, though shocked at first, grew to accept Eva, and my closest friends stood by me, helping me through the rougher patches. My confidence grew, and I began to dream even bigger, envisioning a future where Eva and Evan could be one. And as for Lila, our friendship blossomed into something more, a love built on shared dreams and acceptance. She became my biggest supporter, my partner in music and in life. Together, we created songs that told our story, my story, and shared them with the world. Every time I performed, every time someone told me how my music had touched them, I knew I'd made the right choice. Looking back now, I realized that Eva was never just a stage persona or a disguise. She was the part of me I'd kept hidden, the voice I'd been too afraid to let out. But she was always there, waiting for me to find her. And now, as I stand on stage with Lila beside me, our voices entwining in harmony, I know I'm finally, completely, whole. Thank you so much for watching till now. It means the world to have you here. This community is all about empowering each other and celebrating the incredible journeys of everyone on their path to living authentically. If you're ever feeling lost or alone, remember you have a whole family here for you. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and let's keep inspiring each other, sending you all the love and strength in the world. Until next time, live your life by your rules.